Right, this video is going to look at some basic solving equations questions. The types of questions which appear towards the start of the higher paper. You might get some more difficult algebraic fraction questions towards the end of the paper, but on this video we're just going to focus in on them questions towards the start. Now remember, when you're solving equations you're trying to find out what the value of x is, or whatever the letter is, which might mean we're going to use the skills we know that are inverse to addition is subtraction, and the inverse, the opposite to multiplication, is division. It's really important that you show you're working out nice and neatly, so that if you make a mistake with the answer you might still get some marks for your working. You do sometimes get fractional answers, but usually if you do, it's usually a nice one like a half or a quarter. And remember, when you've got your answer for x, you can always check it by substituting it back into the equation you're given to start with. So, let's have a look at some questions. So here, we're going to solve the following. 5x minus 3 is equal to 17. So firstly, we want to get 5x on its own, so we're going to add 3 to both sides, because that's the opposite to subtracting 3. So now, the next line, we've got 5x is equal to minus 3 add 3, which is nothing, and we've got 17 add 3, which is 20. Now we've got 5 lots of a number equals 20. We want to the opposite to times in by 5, which is to divide both sides by 5. So 5 divided by 5 gives us 1, so we're just left with 1x on the left hand side, which is what we want, and we've got 20 divided by 5, which is 4. So we can check by substituting 4 in, so 5 times 4 is 20, minus 3 gives us 17, so that works. This second example, x divided by 3 plus 4 is equal to 7. So remember, we're trying to find out the value of x. So firstly we want to be left with just that x over 3 on the left hand side. So what's the opposite to adding 4? Well, the opposite, the inverse, is to subtract 4 from both sides. So on the left hand side we're going to be left with x over 3, and on the right hand side we've got 7 minus 4, which is 3. Now remember, x over 3 means x divided by 3. So the opposite to dividing by 3 is to times by 3. So we're going to multiply both sides by 3. That little dot just means multiplication. Right. So 3 divided by 3, well that's what we want. That's just 1. So we've got the 1x, and 3 times 3 is 9. Check it. 9 divided by 3 is 3, add 4 is 7, so that works. Right, next example. We've got 5x divided by 3 is equal to 10. Now firstly, we want to get this so we haven't got a fraction, because that's the bit that makes this question look a bit nasty. So remember, the over 3 means divided by 3. So what's the inverse to dividing by 3? Multiplying by 3. So multiply both sides by 3, so times by 3 times by 3. So now we've got 3 over 3, so that's 3 divided by 3, which is 1, so we've just got 5x, and that's equal to 30. Right, now we've got 5 lots of a number equals 30, and to find out what x is, we divide both sides by 5. So finally we get that x is equal to 6. Question number 4. 7x plus 3 equals 3x plus 21. Now the problem here is we've got unknowns on both sides of the equation. We've got 7x on the left hand side, and we've got 3x on the right hand side. Now what I do is I look, which one's the higher amount of x? Well, that's the 7x. So I'm going to leave that where it is. And I'm going to subtract the 3x from both sides. So subtract 3x from both sides. So now on the right hand side, I've got 7x minus 3x, which is 4x. Also got that plus 3. On the right hand side, 3x minus 3x, well that's no x's, but I've still got the 21. Now we've got an equation very, very similar to what we had in the first examples. So what we want to do now is get just a 4x on the left hand side, and we want to collect all the numbers on the right hand side. So subtract 3 from both sides, and you get 4x is equal to 21 minus 3, which is 18. Now we've got 4 lots of a number and we only want 1 lot, so we divide both sides by 4. So we've got x is equal to 18 over 4. So how many 4's going to 18? Well, that's 4 with 2 left over. Well, that's 4.5. So x is 4.5. So you don't always get whole number answers. Next example. 8x plus 5 is equal to minus 3x plus 38. So remember what I said. Identify which one's the higher amount of x. So it's obviously the 8x on the left hand side. So what we want to do is we want to get these minus 3x's off this left hand side. So what we do is we add 3x to both sides. Because it's minus 3x, we're going to add 3x to both sides. So 8x had 3x is 11x plus 5 is equal to 38. Now we want to get it so we just got the 11x on the left hand side, so we subtract the 5x from both sides, so we have 11x equals 33. Now divide both sides by 11 to finally find out what the value of x is. So the value of one of the x's is x equals 11 divided by 33 divided by 11, which is 3. One final example is this question. 6x minus 1 divided by 4 equals x plus 5. Now the one thing that's making this question look difficult at the moment is this divide by 4. So what we're going to do first is we're going to multiply both sides of the equation by 4 to eliminate that problem. So multiply the left hand side by 4 and multiply the right hand side by 4. Please note that I've put brackets around everything. So now on the left hand side we've got 4 divided by 4, which is 1, so we're just left with 6x minus 1 on the left hand side. But on the right hand side we've got 4x plus 5. Now remember, what we do now is to expand this bracket. And remember, to expand, you do everything inside the bracket multiplied by the number outside the bracket. So we're going to do 4 times x, which is 4x, and 4 times 5, which is 20. So we've got 6x minus 1 equals 20. Now it's a question like we just looked at. So identify which one's the higher amount of x. Well, it's a 6x. So we're going to subtract 4x from both sides. So we're just left with x's on one side. So we've now got 2x minus 1 is equal to 20. Next step is to get 2x on its own by adding 1 to both sides. So we've got 2x is equal to 21. So finally, divide both sides by 2, and you've got x equals 10.5. Right, and that is all the solving equation stuff we need to know towards the front of a high GCSE paper.